The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Let me start the meeting. Welcome everybody to the regular town board meeting. Joel, we're all set, I forgot to ask. We're starting a little bit late. We had technical difficulties with our PowerPoint. It is now 7:25, April 15th, 2019. I hope you have your taxes in. And would you all please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have 2 presentations this evening, and Ben Driscoll is with us, and he is with SNAP and other federal feeding programs, and he wanted an opportunity to explain those programs to you. I think that you'll find them as worthy as I found them and worth sharing with the public. So Ben Driscoll, or Warren County Supervisor representing the city of Glens Falls, Ben Driscoll, along with your other hats.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Supervisor Strau, and thank you, members of the Queensbury Town Board, for the opportunity to speak. This evening, I'm speaking to you as a member of staff member of Catholic Charities for Saratoga, Warren, and Washington counties. I've been there for 5 years, administering a program called Nutrition Outreach and Education Program. That's a program to increase awareness of and participation in a number of federal programs, free and reduced school meals, promoting all students to participate in the school meal programs, congregate senior meal sites, and home-delivered meals, encouraging households, families, and seniors to participate in those programs. In addition to the nutrition that they receive, they also share fellowship and the opportunity to get together with friends and neighbors. The summer meals program that a number of municipalities administer. But most importantly, I'm here to talk about SNAP, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly or also known as food stamps. About 8 years ago, Governor Cuomo and a number of other governors throughout the United States changed the name from food stamps to SNAP in order to help correct the real purpose of the program and to get away from some of the issues that people had with what they saw as a public assistance program. In Warren County, each month during 2018, between 3,500 and 4,000 families participated in the SNAP program. That represents about 6,200 to 7,000 individuals each month who are benefiting from that program. Of those 7,000 people, approximately 40% of those are individuals 16 years of age and younger, so children and very young people. Between 25 and 30% are 60 years of age and older. So we've got between 60 and 65% of our population are what might be perceived as needing that assistance because they're either too young or, in some cases, we're talking about our frail elderly, too old to work full-time, maybe even part-time. Of the remaining 30 to 35%, most of the people have a regular monthly income. That can be from employment, a couple of jobs. It can be from unemployment. It can be from disability. They're not able to hold down a regular job or can only work part-time. Just a little bit more than 4% are from a population called able-bodied adults without dependents. Those are individuals between the ages of 18 and 59 who are able to go out and secure a job or look for a job, who the program will only support for a few months unless they can display that they are either working or looking for work. So again, we're talking about a large number of vulnerable individuals who benefit from the program. Children who have had breakfast and lunch and dinner do better at school. Adults do better in the workplace, and seniors are more independent and self-sufficient. The most a single individual can receive in food stamp each month is $192. The minimum is $15. $192 represents about $2,300 a year. I tell people that we're keeping families, individuals fed. We're keeping them healthier. They're not going to the doctor's offices as often. They're not going to the hospital as often. There's no hospital that I know of in the United States where to put your head on a pillow for one night is going to cost less than $2,300. So if you think of it as being a prevention program, much the same way another program that the county administers, the Women, Infant, and Children program, a classmate of mine from college, who's a doctor now, while he was a pre-med student, told me that the cost of keeping an infant with medical issues in an incubator for one day, it's about the equivalent of a year's worth of WIC benefits. So again, my job is to go throughout Warren County to spread the word, to educate and inform, and that's why I'm here to educate and inform Queensbury's leaders, and also to share information with the public, both watching and here this evening, about the food stamp program, the SNAP program. If you have friends and neighbors, possibly people at work, people that you recreate with, see around town, they may have gone through a loss of a job. If they're seasonal employees or self-employed, it might be a slow time of the year for them. SNAP, just like unemployment, can be a temporary. You could be on it for 2 or 3 months, and then your situation improves and you go off it. The benefit also of SNAP and the Home Energy Assistance Program season is ending, I think, later this month. But an individual, even an individual receiving the minimum of $15 in SNAP benefits each month is categorically eligible for the HEAP program. And depending on the source of heat, that can provide anywhere from $400 to, I think, $700 during the cold weather months. Again, I have given you some information. I brought some tote bags, some pens, some pocket magnifiers, as well as information that shows the income eligibility. A lot of the people that I really enjoy serving are the seniors. 200% of the federal poverty guideline for a single individual is $2,023 a month. A senior living on Social Security and maybe a modest pension, more individuals who are eligible for it, and that represents close to between 40 and 50% of the individuals in Warren County who are eligible for the program aren't taking advantage of it. And again, it's my job to dispel some of the rumors. They no longer use what I call monopoly money. It's a debit card. So the Department of Social Services will deposit your benefit amount each month on the same day of the month. And then you can just access your local supermarket, convenience store. You can even use it at farmers markets. And if you receive $150 and you spend $50 at Price Chopper or Hannaford, it'll show you have a balance that you can use of $100 at a later time. Pretty much anything that human beings consume can be purchased except for prepared meals. I'd be happy to answer any questions that people have, or they can always give me a call at Catholic Charities, and my telephone number is 793-6212. I'm right on 35 Broad Street in Glens Falls, and again, I serve all of Warren County, and I will do a home visit or meet a person at a town hall or a coffee shop or a library, someplace like that, in order to help them with an application. It takes less than 10 minutes to do. I hand deliver it to the Department of Social Services, and they're good to go. They recertify once every 6 months, seniors on Social Security once a year. So thank you very much for your time. I know you've got a busy agenda. As Supervisor mentioned, I'm also a member of the Warren County Board of Supervisors, and because of that, I'm planning on hanging around for your meeting. I was encouraged by another member of the board as an at-large supervisor to get to know the towns a little bit better. I've been before the town board in Queensbury. This past week, I visited Lake Luzerne, Chestertown, and Thurman, and before the end of May, I'll have visited all 11 townships in the county before that. So thank you.
Well, that's pretty aggressive, Mr. Driscoll. Is the only way of, say somebody is watching this program and they said, yes, that's something I need at this point in my life. I could use a service like that. I'm desperate. Besides calling 793-6212, is there a website portal or anything else, any other way of, trying to get to the program and to see if...
Well, they can learn, they can go to a program called MyGov New York, mybenefitsnewyork.gov, and learn about the SNAP program. They can contact the Department of Social Services. Most food pantries in Warren County, and I think there's 18 of them scattered around, can provide information on the SNAP program. I don't have a website. I do have an email address, and that's bdriscoll@swwcc.org. That stands for Saratoga Warren Washington Catholic Charities.org.
Okay.
And again, I'm always willing to come out and speak to a community group, an organization, weekends, special events, those types of things, share the information. Again, I brought some of the promotional brochures, and I guess I would ask the board to share those with appropriate sites and individuals that might be able to be ambassadors and helping me to get the information out to the public.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right. Well, Ben,
thank you.
Thank you for all that you do with Warren County Nutrition Outreach and Education Program Coordinator. And I'm also work with Ben Driscoll on the Community Action board of directors and doing all kinds of good things for the community. Thanks for all you do, Ben.
Thanks.
All right, next we have another presentation. Steve Lovering, who is the department manager for our Parks and Recreation, our wonderful Parks and Recreation, I might add. And a large part of that is because of the efforts of Steve Lovering. And preceding him was Harry Hansen, and I will be talking about Harry a little bit later. But Steve, you're going to show the public a little bit on the capital programs that the Park and Rec is going to try and endeavor this year. Okay, and I'll get the lighting for you.
Okay. I thank everyone who stayed around and wondering what was going to be shown on the screen, why it is so important that you make this that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the board inviting me to make this quick presentation, and it will be a quick presentation. As John mentioned, my name is Steve Lovering. I'm the Recreation and Parks Director for the town of Queensbury. Each year around April or May, the Recreation Commission puts together a capital project program, and this is our program for this year. I was able to meet with the town board at a recent workshop meeting and discuss the different ins and outs of what we were trying to do, and I think it was received very favorably. The presentation will quickly talk about the project criteria, the totals of the project money that we want to spend, a little bit on the funding request, and some individual projects. So the Recreation Commission has developed a set of criteria to decide what projects need to be done and which ones do not. And we've developed the criteria 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is safety and maintenance, projects that are important because of either a safety hazard or because if it's not fixed, it could become a safety problem. Number 2 is an improved or an added amenity. So that's all about trying to make our parks look good and operate well. And the last part is the functionality or the aesthetics. We want things to look good, because if things look good, they operate better, in our estimation, anyway. So the project totals, we've got in Ward 1, $76,000 has been requested, and that's covering 2 different park project plans and 8 different individual improvements. In Ward 2, which is the largest one, that's $390,000. That's 1 park and 4 improvement items. That's going to be the focus of my presentation tonight. Just doing large park because that's the largest of dollar amounts. In Ward 3, we're set to spend $25,000 at 1 park for 1 improvement. And in Ward 4, we have 1 park project with 3 different improvement items. So here's sort of an overview of our plan for this year. Gurney Lane, we're asking for $56,000, and a lot of that is going towards replacing some filtration and chemical monitoring equipment, a little bit of trail expansions, some park signage that needs to be improved. We've got to do a new shed to store our chemicals because the old shed probably isn't going to meet the code that we need to do, and it's not really safe. Jenkinsville, we're looking at $20,000. We want to take care of our parking lot and our athletic field, a little bit of work with those 2 areas. Hobby Pond, which is the bulk of their request this year, $390,000 over the different items within that plan. Hudson River Park, $33,000. We're looking at paving some walkways, doing some grading and seeding work on the athletic fields. And the other thing that we would like to accomplish down there, because it's such a beautiful park, we would like to clean up our shoreline, at least in phases, so that when you go down there and you're either launching a boat or you're playing with your dog or you're using the picnic pavilion, you can actually see the river. Right now, it's a little bit hard in some spots because it's a little bit overgrown, so we would like to fix that. And the last area is Rush Pond Trail. We've got $25,000 set there, and that's for design and layout for some single track bike trails adjacent to the 2.6 mile trail that goes from north to south. We're trying to get some of the bike traffic off of the trails that are being used by walkers and joggers and those who may be walking their dog. It'll add an element of excitement for the bike crowd who may be riding from different parts of the town, riding up to, say, Gurney Lane. So they'll have some exciting trails to ride. It gets them off of the main thoroughfare, which are being used by, sometimes it's elderly, sometimes it's young families. So we think that that would be a good project to do. So this is a little bit hard to see, but as I said before, my presentation really is focusing on Hovey Pond because that's the largest amount of money that we're spending. We've got 4 different areas in which we are spending our money. We have a new parking lot, which should be paved by the end of this week or certainly by the beginning of next week. But there's a beautification and a landscaping plan that goes along with it. So that when you're driving down there and you look to the left, you're not seeing just a big, huge parking lot. You're going to see hopefully some beautiful screens through plants and flowers. The next area is a barrier-free playground. This playground is going to be designed it'll be designed to take care of all kinds of different populations. It will be ADA compliant, and our goal was to replace Freedom Park. Freedom Park is going on 18 years old. It's, to use another word I don't know how to do, but it's falling apart, and it needs to be addressed. The materials that were used were great almost 20 years ago, but they do deteriorate, and we felt like moving this down to Hovey Pond and creating a really exciting program for the kids was the way to go. We've got Charlie Main Pavilion. That was put in last year, but there's nothing around it right now. So we have a beautiful landscaping plan that will be included with that. And then a very new space for Hovey Pond is going to be a memorial garden. We get a lot of requests every year for plaques and planting of trees, almost overwhelmingly. So we felt it would be a good idea to give those folks a quiet place to sit, to reflect, perhaps to put up a plaque in remembrance of a loved one, anything like that. So just looking at the program for Hovey Pond, we've got a landscape and beautification plan around the parking lot, a landscape beautification plan around the memorial garden, main pavilion, as I mentioned before, a landscape plan there. And then our sort of the signature piece there is our barrier-free playground area. Really excited about all the developments down there, but that's really high on our list. We feel like that's something that really brings the community together, where kids of all ability levels can play together. That's really important. I'm really, really excited about that. Oops. So looking at the memorial garden, what we've got designed right now is sort of a circular stone wall that's being anchored by hopefully a beautiful magnolia tree that will flower. We've got individual benches. We've got areas to kind of sit and reflect either to the memorial area or out over the pond. So we're really excited about that. This is sort of I'm not sure if you can see it as well as I can, but this is sort of a visual simulation of what the area will look like. Here is our circular stone wall. In here, we've got different monuments where plaques could be put on for remembrance of loved ones. Charlie Main Pavilion, that was installed last summer. So we've got a really special beautification and landscaping plan that will include some areas to kind of gather. We've got it overlooked with Adirondack chairs over the pond. We anticipate that this will be popular for weddings. We will do our own programs down there, perhaps at lunchtime, evening concerts, anything like that. So we're really excited about that as well. Okay, I talked about the parking lot before. We're going to add 20 new parking spots there. And if anyone has been down there on lunchtime trying to find a spot, you'll know that that's a real tough sell. We're looking at trying to use sidewalks to connect the main pedestrian entrance, our monument for the services, and as well as some benches. The playground area itself is probably going to be somewhere around 15,000 square feet. It will offer ADA compliant equipment. It will offer ADA compliant port-in-place surfacing, which is great for wheelchairs. We've got a bank of swings. Again, I think that the playground equipment itself is, as I said, it's a centerpiece of what we want to do down there. But I think it's really important for communities because, as I said before, it really brings families together. It brings kids of all different ability levels together. Excuse me. There is an actual slide there. Okay. So this gives you an idea as to the layout of the equipment. Again, these are all ramps, so it's all wheelchair accessible. There is lift out ramps. There's one here on the back side. So again, all ADA compliant, and will include all kinds of different inclusive swings and musical elements as well. This is a kind of an idea as to what Freedom Park can look like right now. These are some of the tops of the posts have all become pitted and rotten. Something like this is, we act immediately on it, but it's still, you know that the lifespan of this park is reaching its end. So that's why it was so important to find an alternative place for the playground program to live. So that's a little bit about the program that we've got going. The Recreation Commission is putting forth for 2019. The board's been gracious enough to allow us to do some of the things that we want to do down there. But again, I'm really, really excited about it. Hovey Pond is like our central park. It's the most centrally located park that we have. It's the only urban park that we have. We have 11 parks, and we're scattered from one end of town to the other. But this is sort of our center of town. So it's exciting to be able to put together a program like this. We haven't done really much of anything down there since about 2006. That was our last really big construction project. And this will be a little bit more than we did that year. And I think this is going to be a centerpiece of town. I really do. If I can answer anybody's questions about it, be happy to.
Will there be a fence around the playground?
Will there be what?
A fence.
Yes. The playground will have total fencing. There'll be one entrance right here. It's like a little sidewalk or a plaza. There'll be benches. There'll be musical instruments there for kids of all ability levels, wheelchair or otherwise. And then it's all enclosed by 4-foot-high black fence with two entrances. One here near the parking lot and then one up here off the back way.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I would also just say that our summer brochure program guide will be coming out within the next couple of weeks. Residents will be receiving that in the mail, and we are excited and geared up and ready for summer. Thank you.
Okay. Well, again, kind of a segue into my next little segment of this meeting. And Steve Lovering and the Park and Rec Commission have done a wonderful job with our park and recreation. We're very gifted to have very talented people help manage this town and help produce a very good community that the greater community also enjoys. But Harry Hansen, who recently passed, as you may know, and Park and Rec was his middle name. I mean, he goes back in his history to 1970, where in Elmhurst, Illinois, he started working for their Parks and Recreation Commission. And then in 1978, he accepted a position as director of Park and Recreation here at the town of Queensbury. And he moved his whole family east for that. So he was very instrumental in developing Gurney Lane Recreation Area, Ham Pool, Hovey Pond Park, the creation of Ridge Jenkinsville Park, the Hudson Point Nature Preserve, that Hudson River Park, and Steve Lovering has brought many of those to fruition. So both men deserve credit for those. But he also coached Little League. He was den master for the Cub Scouts. He was just very community involved. And so we're going to miss Harry. And the flags are at half-mast, if you notice, coming in. Pay respects for Harry. And I'd like to take a moment of silence for Harry because he played such an integral part in this community while he was here. All right, thank you, Harry. We're going to miss you. Next on the agenda, and we're having too many of those lately, but it is what it is. We have 2 public hearings tonight for sewage disposal variances, but we need to go into the Queensbury Board of Health to deal with those. Is there a motion to move into the Queensbury Board of Health? Moved by Councilman Ferrone, seconded by Councilman Medevere. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. We're now in the Queensbury Board of Health. So 2.1, please, Caroline.
This is a public hearing on a sewage disposal variance application of Thomas and Mary Beth Babcock.
Okay. Thomas and Mary Babcock have a place on 15 Chestnut Road, which is on Glen Lake. And they would like to put in a new septic system. And they need several variances to do that. They need one variance is the absorption field to be 4 feet from the west property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 2, the absorption field to be 2 foot from the south property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 3, distribution box to be 4 foot from the south property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 4, the forest main to be 4 feet from the south property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 5, absorption field to be 68 feet 4 inches from the neighboring well line instead of the required 100-foot setback. And 6, the absorption bed to be located partially under the driveway. And this is for property located at 15 Chestnut Road, owned by Thomas and Mary Beth Babcock. So Tom Hutchins is here, and George Ferrone and myself were did a site visit to this site. And so we discussed some options with the engineer, and I believe that you're going to present
Yeah, sure.
one of the options to us
We're-
in any event. So if you want to elaborate on that, yes. George and I were there, and one of the options that were offered to us was under the driveway to put in what they call infiltrator water technologies, high-capacity infiltrator chamber, which is an infiltration system that can be used under traffic, such as a parking area. So it's been tested and tried and true, and so we'll probably learn a little bit more about that.
Sure.
So if you'll identify yourself for the record and then elaborate, I wish you to do so.
Sure. My name is Tom Hutchins. I do business as Hutchins Engineering, Queensbury. With me is owner applicant Tom Babcock, and his wife Melissa is also here with us. The Babcocks have owned this property at 15 Chestnut since 1987. And they wish to upgrade and improve this wastewater system. What we've proposed is an enhanced treatment system, a Claris Fusion aerobic treatment unit with disinfection that you folks have seen on other properties. It's going in on a lot of lakefront properties. It's a highly efficient post-secondary treatment system, and subsequent to that, we're showing a pump station to an absorption bed located partially beneath the existing driveway, because that location allows us to maximize setbacks from adjoining properties and wells and such. We looked at some options. I feel strongly that this is the best option for that absorption area. Again, we're dealing with highly treated effluent that's been disinfected going into this absorption system. We're fine utilizing the H20 chambers in lieu of pipe in a stone absorption bed. And with that, I don't have anything to add. If your board would have any questions, we're welcome to. And Tom, if you want to add anything. This is very important to the owners. I would add that.
Well, George and I were up there, and I'll speak for myself. It probably is the best location and maybe the only location for an infiltration bed. We talked about an infiltration bed might not be the best thing for under a driveway with the traffic and the potential. It could get in the way of the future operation of it. But with what you're proposing, this Infiltrator Water Technologies H20 system, it seems to resolve all the issues that I may have had, and I'll allow George to speak for himself. So, so do you have a detail for us as to how that might look, or you could submit?
It will look. What I propose is I submit that with the permit. It will look very similar to the detail on the back of the cut sheet I've shown you. It'll be 3 rows of infiltrators instead of 3 rows of pipe within that bed. Right. Physical dimensions won't change. Variance distances won't change. And I have some more of those if you'd like.
Yeah, would you share those with us?
Certainly.
How does it overcome those it seems like the norm is not to put something under the driveway. So how does this mechanism overcome that?
Well, yeah, the norm is not to put a system under the driveway. However, in this case, there aren't a whole lot of options. It overcomes it by the physical strength of these chambers that are installed in a bed of stone, and we also have the ability to use high-strength highway stabilization fabric, which hasn't been around forever, but it does a wonderful job in protecting subgrades, soft subgrades, from traffic loads. You can put this stuff down and build a road through a very, very wet area and a soft area, and it's marvelous material, and it hasn't been around forever, but it helps immensely with this type of application.
Well, the worry that we have with a traditional infiltration bed is that driving over it and putting weights on it and driving over it will result in compaction, which will take away from the effectiveness and efficiency of a traditional system.
Right.
Now, as you can see, this is a structural system. So compaction is not the issue here, and it is drivable. That's why it's called an H20. So we talked to Tom earlier, and he was willing to switch this system for what was proposed, the traditional infiltration system. And town council, that's the only really change. And
I have those sheets. I'll read up.
I didn't think it was significant enough.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have actually done this on a number of occasions. There's a motel on the way to Bolton that the entire parking area has these systems underneath it in a very high loading situation for a motel.
Okay.
And it's went in well, and it's functioned very well.
Okay.
So we have done it.
How old
So
are those systems?
6-7 years.
What's this replacing? Just curious.
This is replacing a holding tank system that is aged in itself. It was from the 1990s.
The only question I forgot to ask today is, so as we were looking at that area, there's some blacktop there.
Mhm.
I imagine that's going to be removed so you can put in these units.
Yeah, the blacktop will be cut out. We put this in,
And then it's going to be repaved back.
and then asphalt surface back over. Yes.
any other questions for the board before I open the public hearing? Any member of the public wish to speak to this? We have a public hearing on this variance proposal tonight. Seeing no interest from the public in speaking to this variance sewage disposal variance application tonight. Council,
Is this replacing the absorption bed?
this is replacing the absorption bed. This is a So is there anything that we need to, well, we need to address that
Number 6.
in our
We should
resolution.
change number 6 on the last page of the resolution, which refers to absorption bed to be located partially under the driveway.
It's actually still an absorption bed. It's just that the transfer medium is now chambers instead of pipe.
So
Dimensionally, it's
So
still
why
an
don't we
absorption
say
bed.
absorption bed in the form of,
Utilizing H20 chambers. Yeah, that's fine.
okay, absorption bed utilizing the infiltrator chamber H20.
That's fine. Yeah, H20 is an AASHTO acronym for a highway load. It's actually 20,000 pound axle load, which this will never see, but
Heavy, but not that.
So absorption bed utilizing the infiltrator chamber H20.
that's fine. Yeah.
And then continue on to be located partially under the driveway.
Okay, is that understood? Is okay with the town board?
Yes.
Okay. Well, having said that, if there's no further thoughts, on behalf of the town board, I'll entertain a motion.
Did you close the public hearing?
I'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Carolyn.
I'll introduce.
Introduced by Councilman Medevere, seconded by Councilwoman Atherton. A roll call vote on this, please, Caroline.
Councilpersons Medevere?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Switzer? Yes. And Strack?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right. Good luck. And thank you, Tom, for
Thank you for the board.
accommodating. All right, next public hearing. Caroline?
This is a public hearing, sewage disposal variance application of 10 Dunham's Bay Road LLC.
Okay. Dunham's Bay, we all know where that is. Howard used to own it. And now a new enterprise is there, and they're going to fix it all up and make it look nice and make it functional. More so than it was in the past. And we got to see some of that today. George and I went up and did a site visit. And so, really, the one thing that they can do, and in my way of thinking, the most practical thing is to put in a holding tank. Given the terrain, the building, site constraints, holding tank is the most reasonable thing, especially if you're concerned about the integrity of the quality of water adjacent to this enterprise. So they're proposing to put in a 6,000 gallon capacity holding tank. And they have a pump station. We went through all that today, and it'll go up to the 6,000 gallon tank, and the tank is located in a place where it's easily accessible for pumping. And so we have the applicant, the applicant's agent, attorney, Matt Fuller, here to speak to this. So I'll hand it over to you if you wish to elaborate.
Sure, thank you. For the record, Matt Fuller with Meyer, Fuller, and Stockwell here in town. I have Matt O'Hara, and we also have Tom Suazo from Cedarwood Engineering, who has done the design work here. Supervisor Stroud, you hit it right on the head. We're kind of in the rebirth of the property up there, and Matt and his wife and the crew that he's assembled, are really undertaking quite a project up there. We'll be back sometime later this year, the planning board, with some, hopefully, actually in the not too distant future, with some plans for the actual facility. But the initial critical moves were gasoline and the septic. The gas tanks have been removed, and we're in the process of putting in a brand new tank. And at the same time, since we're in that same area disturbing the ground, the idea was to replace what we believe to be a septic system that is at the very, very, very end of its life with the holding tank system that Supervisor Stroud, you so adequately summed up. We had originally talked about a kind of a split system with a 3,000 gallon pump station up to the 3,000 gallon holding tank. but in working with RM Dalrymple, the fuel company, and siting the fuel system to service the boats, been working with Tom Suazo and Cedarwood and his team, everybody kind of agreed that the 6,000 gallon holding tank a little bit further up the road was the better move for the property. So we'll have the pump station that you saw inside. It's tight quarters inside the bathroom, right near the bathroom area. We're going to upgrade and replace that pump station inside the building, seal it and make sure it functions, and then force main up to the holding tank, fully alarmed in accordance with the town's code, shut-offs and whatnot, and contract with the service to pump it out.
And I see that it goes along with a new stormwater plan and everything else.
It does, and that's I would call that the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning of our stormwater plan. So we're at the Park Commission at the end of the month to hopefully get the approvals to kick off the Freedom Boat Club at the Dunham's Bay site for the summer. And as I said, we're actually working on the sketch. We'll probably get in touch with Craig here in the next few days to get in for a sketch review for the site. So improvements to the buildings, that is obviously probably going to come late fall or over the winter season here. We won't be doing a ton during the season, but we'll work our way towards it, get the approvals, and be ready to go.
And I'll point out to the board that if Matt don't know the answer, that the engineer from Cedarwood, Tom Suarzo, is in the audience, so we can bring him forward if you have a technical issue that can't be answered by Matt and Matt. Questions from the board? All right. There is a public hearing on this tonight, so I'll open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this Dunham's Bay sewage disposal variance application? Seeing none? Any further questions from the board?
Just a comment, it's just too bad John Seller wasn't around to see that.
Yeah.
No, because this is what he's talked about for the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. This would make him happy.
This would make him happy.
If anything could, this could.
Yeah.
All right. God rest his soul. So, is there a motion to approve then? Moved by Councilman Ferrone, seconded by close the public hearing. Thank you, Caroline. Why do I always forget that? Seconded by, I think it was Councilman Metabier.
Who introduced him? Sorry.
Introduced by,
And then
okay. All right, roll call vote, please, Caroline.
Councilpersons Atherton?
Yes.
Ferrone?
Yes.
Switzer?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for the Queensbury Board of Health. Is there a motion to move out of the Queensbury Board of Health?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Switzer,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Metabier. All those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Board of Health, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. We're out of the Queensbury Board of Health. Public hearing that's been proposed. Proposed local law to amend town code. And Caroline, if you'll take it a bit further than I did.
This is a proposed local law to amend Town Code Chapter 136, Article 14, entitled Establishment of Sewer Rents to add property not served by sewer facilities.
Okay, this is property titled as 75 Overlook Drive. It's part of the original sewer district, but it's quite a ways away from any of the sewer facilities. It is not served by the sewer facilities. It's not, we don't see any near future where it will be served by the sewer facilities. So this is an application to give the owners of the property permission not to hook up to the sewer, and they're given a special tax rate, a reduced tax rate. So they won't be paying sewer rent, and they will be paying a sewer rate, but it'll be reduced, seeing as they don't get any of the, to use the facility, at least not at this time. So it would be very expensive and very difficult to provide sewer to this property. even though it's part of the district. It's 3,000 feet away from the nearest connection point, which is off of Rockwell. So Superintendent Chris Harrington is present. So if we have any questions beyond what I said, he could probably answer them. All right, so this is a resolution to set the public hearing, which will be for April 15th, tonight. Oh, excuse me, I got the wrong one.
Yes.
It's to hold the public hearing tonight, April 15th. I have two resolutions in my hand, and I have the wrong one. I have the one that we had to set it. So we have the public hearing on this tonight. Any thoughts on behalf of the town board before I open the public hearing? No? Public hearing is now open. Where'd everybody go?
They're here for the exciting septic stuff.
Yeah, well, they wanted to stay for that Park and Rec presentation, and that was it. All right, I'll close the public hearing since there's nobody here to speak to it or nobody that desires to speak to it at this time. And I'll entertain a motion to approve a resolution enacting proposed local law to amend Town Code 136, Article 24, entitled Establishment of Sewer Runs to add property not served by sewer facilities. Motion to move that?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Switzer, seconded by Councilwoman Atherton. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilpersons Barone,
Yes.
Switzer, yes, Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
and Atherton.
Yes.
Okay. The next one, we're going to have a resolution boarding up removal of partially house on 454 Bay Road. That has been cleaned up by the owner in a manner that's approved by Dave Hatton, and he asked us if we could.
It looks really good. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. I just, like, all of a sudden.
Well, sometimes it just takes a little urging.
Yeah.
It's safe and boarded up.
Wow.
Okay, so we don't have that. So next, we do have, and I know this is your favorite part,
No.
20 resolutions before us. And I will briefly explain each of those resolutions and give the public an opportunity to speak to any of them after I explain the resolutions. And then, and before the board gives them consideration. Okay, resolution 6.1, Caroline.
Resolution authorizing promotion of Jamie Grell from Water Plant Operator 1 to Water Plant Operator 2.
All right, Jamie Graw has passed the departmental verbal exam, has the required job experience, and this town board is being asked to authorize the promotion of Jamie Graw from Plant Operator 1 to Water Plant Operator 2. 6.2.
Resolution approving year 2018 Service Award Program records for Queensbury Volunteer Fire Company.
All right, this is for our volunteers. We don't do enough for them, but this is a retirement program that if they put in and earn a certain amount of credits per year, at least 50, it's not easy to do that. It takes a lot of training, and not just training. You have to vary your points. It has to be out in the field experience. It has to be maintenance in the shop. It has to be a lot of things to get those points. If you get 50 or more, you'll get 1 year credit. That will mean $700 towards your retirement. So after 10 years, for example, you'll get $7,000. I know it's not much, but we do appreciate your volunteerism, and it's better than nothing. But this town board reviews those points. And so this is a resolution awarding the records for the Queensbury fire companies, all 5 of them. 6.3.
Resolution approving year 2018 Service Award Program records for emergency medical squads.
All right, same thing, only for our EMS folks, volunteers. Only the volunteers. 6.4.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Town of Queensbury and Queensbury Youth Lacrosse.
Okay, Frank Miller, who is retired now, is a teacher from Queensbury and now coordinating some sporting opportunities for our local kids. He's saying that some kids can't afford the equipment and so forth, and you know, we could use some money for the equipment. So he started a lacrosse program, and it's open for K through 12, and approximately 180 young people are playing lacrosse in 6 different age groups. And he's hoping to encourage more children to become part of the program by making the purchase of the necessary equipment more reasonable for those children and their families who are not able to afford the startup cost of the equipment. At this time, the basic starter set for a young player averages around $200, $250. But it's not only for that, it's for field safety equipment and everything else for the lacrosse players. So this is a resolution awarding them $2,500. 6.5.
Resolution approving transit merchant market license for Northeast Realty Development, Kevin Quinn and Naomi Polito.
All right, this is an application. It's an annual one. It's for Americade. It's for the leather and teepee place up there on Route 9. You may be familiar with it. And he has all kinds of vendors go there. It's very popular during Americade. And so we have a transit merchant market license that's required for these outfits. The reason why we developed this is that back in the old days, you used to drive into Queensbury and unload a thing of cars, start selling them. You could have a big truck and you come in and you pull alongside, you get permission from the property owner, and you put out these velvet paintings. I really like the one of Elvis. But they were very popular. And the other thing, the knights in armor made out of tin cans. All right, so all kinds of things were occurring. It was traffic issues. And not only that, but some of them, like the cars and some of the other things, were competing with our local businesses who were paying taxes. Just not fair. So the businesses asked us to adopt this transit merchant market license. So for appropriate adventures like this one, where they do this for Americade and they have vendors on the site and they have a site plan that's been approved and reviewed and so forth, it comes to this board for approval.
Can I ask a question, Supervisor?
Yes.
There was a memo in here from Craig Brown to Town Clerk Barber. Were those 3 items on that memo addressed that he brought to your attention?
The most recent memo that he sent, or the initial one where they were?
Well, this is from April 1st, 2019.
The annual New York State DOT permit, they typically renew about the same time every year, so we should be getting the new one prior to this.
Yeah.
The plot plan, initially they had added that site, but now they've revamped that and took that out. I do think that in the resolution it does address that he wants an updated site where they want the vendors.
Right.
There is one in this application, but I guess you might want something more specific. Anything he gives to me, I'm going to give to Craig and ask.
Yeah, it didn't specifically say someplace in here that they were addressed, so I just wanted to make sure.
Well, and I don't think Craig would have let it come to us unless it was
addressed. Okay.
And that plot plan one is item 6 in the resolution.
Okay.
On the second page.
Thank you.
All right. 6.6, Caroline.
This is resolution approving repurchase of cemetery lot in Pineview Cemetery from John Curley.
All right, it's Horicon lot number 2, HB, for the amount of $266.67. This is usual for people that want to sell it back, and we won't have any problems reselling most of these, I don't think, Connie? No. So Superintendent of Cemeteries is here as well. Thank you, Connie, for attending. So that's that. 6.7.
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for sale and or disposal of obsolete equipment.
All right, so there's a list of an iPhone 6S and Dell Optiplex 3020 and a bunch of surplus items we don't need and will go on Gov Deals to dispose of. 6.8.
Resolution authorizing engagement of Capital Markets Advisors, LLC, to provide financial advisory services.
All right, well, we had environmental capital, and they were bought out. So this is basically capital markets advisors. And so they will, and so what we pay them varies from year to year, whether we're taking out a debt or not, because they'll help guide us through, as will town council Bob Hafner, guide us through that debt process. But he works with environmental capital, now called Capital Markets Advisors. It's $250 per year. Because they do the annual debt disclosure. They must be licensed to do that, so they'll do that for us. And any other services that may require, they'll do for $175 to $250 per hour, depending on staff that's used for that. And that's about $5 more than was last year. So this is an annual thing, and it's to give, like I say, capital markets. We're taking the place of environmental capital, the business, professional services business that I mentioned. 6.9.
Resolution authorizing engagement of eVision digital marketing for cemetery website and database services.
Okay, this is $15,342.50. And this is awarding eVision, who is currently website developer and manager. And we pay them for that. And this is to set up things for the cemetery. In other words, bring the cemetery, and thank you, Connie, for doing this, bring the cemetery into the modern world. So they'll do many things listed, but they're going to create an interactive map of the cemetery sections. There'll be a full map of all our cemeteries. We have 11 and soon 12 with the little Ogden one. So this will have the individual cemetery maps and interactive JavaScript coding. There'll be a hover feature displaying cemetery sections, list of residents and individual sections in a sortable table. And it'll create a cemetery database using a list provided, and have all kinds of functionality, sortable database tables, and it goes on. So it's going to bring our cemetery into the modern world, and the outside world will be able to come to us and see if any of their ancestors are here or any other person of interest is in our cemetery, one of our cemeteries. All right, so that's the resolution for that. 610.
Resolution reappointing members to Town Ethics Board.
All right, the Ethics Board that we appointed some time ago had an informal meeting. I say informal because they came into my office and said, you don't have a Town Ethics Board. I said, what? They said, no, you don't. We all forgot. We forgot to remind you that the terms expired, and we would all be willing to step into being your Town Ethics Board, but you got to renew us. So I shared with the town board the resumes of all 5 people: Paul Abbots, Steve Gachkowski, Kurt Kostanen, Patricia Murray, Lisa Whitesitz. So some have 4-year terms and some only have 2. So Patricia Murray and Lisa Woditz will have 2-year terms that will expire next year. So we'll have to relook at those 2 positions next year. But this resolution will give us back our Town Ethics Board. Should we need it, we'll have it. 611.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funds from New York State Office of Court Administration for funds to be used for town court improvements.
All right, they were awarded $4,056.47, and they'll use it for some town court equipment and improvements. 6.12.
Resolution authorizing establishment of Windows 10 upgrade capital project fund number 227, and award of bid to and engagement of Store Technology Solutions, Inc.
All right, this is to bring us to Windows 10 and bring us to the modern system. We did send out for proposals. We got 3 proposals for the equipment part of this. And Store Tech was the lowest at $47,955.78. We also had Layer Data Solutions offer $66,746.70, and then AdNet at $64,722.44. So Stored Tech was about $20,000 cheaper for the equipment aspect of that. And then we have laptops. We already have an arrangement with Stored Tech. And then we have a 5% contingency. And we have about $14,500 in labor, which is all part of the Stored Tech contract that we have with them. So the best proposal was Stored Tech, so it kind of is convenient that we'll roll all these into one resolution. So to bring us into the world of Windows 10 is going to cost us a total of $75,048.36. Resolution 613, please, Caroline.
Resolution authorizing purchase of radar feedback signs / units from Traffic Logic.
All right, well, we're going to pull the 613. Members of the board want a little bit closer look. Yeah, we do want to buy these traffic devices, but they want to make sure it's the ones that we're going to need. So we'll hold off. We'll give them 2 weeks to find out more about these, and then we'll have probably some resolution on May 6th. So we're going to pull 613. Okay? 614.
Resolution establishing Climate Smart Communities Capital Project Fund number 226 and establishing and appointing members to Town of Queensbury Climate Smart Communities Committee.
Okay. We've already made the pledge in a previous resolution to be a Climate Smart Communities pledge. And it said that we will try to make some, most, maybe all, we're not committed, we could build a climate smart community. Yes, we do. Inventory emissions, set goals, plan for community action. Yes. Decrease energy use. Yeah, we do want to do that. Shift to clean renewable energy. Yes, we do want to do that. Use climate smart materials management. Yes. Implement climate smart land use. Yes, we're going to be looking at that. Enhance community resilience to climate change. Yes, we're already working on those things. Most of these we're already working on. 8, support a green innovation economy. 9, inform and inspire the public. 10, engage in an evolving process of climate action. Since it kind of made sense, we're already doing those things with this board. They're very supportive of that. It seemed to be sense that we, kind of become a climate smart community. So we wish to form a Climate Smart Communities Committee whose primary mission will be to help the town of Queensbury develop actions that would help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change in accord with New York State's Climate Smart Communities program, which is jointly sponsored by the following 6 New York State agencies: the Department of Environmental Conservation, Energy Research and Development Authority, Development of Public Service, Development of State, Department of Transportation, and Department of Health are all involved in this. So we're setting up a capital project for monies that would we might need to push us along in those efforts I just mentioned in the amount of $20,000. We are also forming a committee. These committee members will be appointing now Lisa Adamson, Catherine Atherton, John Braco, Kathy Bozzoni, Diane Collins, Stephen Dana, it should be, David Deeb, Lionel Lemery, Tony Kravitsky, Bernice Menace, Harvey Nordzi, Pamela Reed, John Strow, Stephen Traver, Travis Whitehead. I try and step to the side and let the committee do the work, but they also want me to be present. All right, so this is also appointing Kathy Bozzoni as the chairperson of that committee. And as such, the chairperson shall call and preside at all meetings of the committee. With the advice of the committee, develop an action plan in accord with the committee's mission. Will be the liaison between the committee and the town board. Will provide periodic updates to the town board. Will seek town board approvals for actions, plans, financial allocations, and will assure the planning and administration of the action plans, and following the town board approval, apply for grants and administer the awarded grants. And so this is a resolution to approve all that. 6:15.
This is a resolution setting public hearing on proposed local law of 2019 to amend the Queensbury Town Code and Town Zoning Map to make certain changes to waterfront residential zones to better protect town water bodies.
All right, this is to set the public hearing for May 6th, but Councilwoman Catherine Atherton was the chairperson of the committee that put this together. She had a very good committee. I looked in from time to time. They were very active. And I think they put together a very good proposal, so I commend you, Councilwoman Atherton, in your efforts here.
Thank you.
And so there are some changes in our waterfront residential. I don't know if you want to review those or...
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to? I mean, I can just list them quickly.
Yeah, would you please?
Okay. So there are sort of 8 changes. Exclude Class A marina on Glen Lake, Lake Sunnyside, and Dream Lake. Change the Class B definition, removing or the owner's gratuitous guest, which actually limits the use to owner and one renter. Increases the no-cut zone to 75 feet for all declassified streams and regulated wetlands and rivers. Adds a 10-foot vegetative pathway at a width of no more than 10 feet and in a manner to be effective in controlling erosion. The ground cover planting requirements of 179-8-040B shall still be applicable in this area. For all no-cut zones and no-cut of woody vegetation, add no-cut of woody vegetation greater than 1 inch in diameter breast height may be removed. Excuse me. Increase vegetative buffers on Glen Lake, Lake Sunnyside, Dream Lake, and Round Pond to 20 feet. On Lake George and DEC classified streams and regulated wetland to 35 feet. Add, if a roadway is located within the required buffer area, it is not to be used in the buffer calculation. Add, further triggers to site plan review. Add a new section for construction within a critical environmental area, stating a site plan is required for any construction, including new buildings, in addition to existing buildings, that results in the creation of an increase in floor area. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to have a public hearing on those proposed changes in our waterfront residential zone on May 6th. That's a resolution to set that public hearing and on those changes Councilwoman Atherton just highlighted. Okay, 6:16.
Resolution authorizing capital park improvement projects, increases in park improvement projects, withdrawals from capital reserves number 61 and number 64, and advertisement for bids.
Director Steve Lovering went over those previously. 6:17.
Resolution authorizing increase of appropriations in Clean Energy Communities Capital Project Fund number 219.
All right, well, we set aside $10,000 and we've gone a little bit beyond that. And so we have remnants of the CEC, or the Clean Energy Communities Committee, and their efforts, but they pretty much wrap those up, but there's still legacy costs. So this is to put $5,000 more into that fund just to cover any of those costs. And once we're done with that, any unspent monies will return to the general fund. 6:18.
Resolution to amend 2019 budget.
Okay. 6:19.
Resolution approving audited bills warrant of April 16, 2018.
All right, warrant with a run date of April 11th and payment date of April 16th, totaling $638,883.32. 6:20.
Resolution authorizing technical services change order number 2 regarding engineering services of CT Mail Associates relating to Cary Road Sanitary Sewer District project.
All right. Well, the Cary Road sewer is in, and Water Superintendent and Sewer Superintendent Chris Harrington is here, and it is active, and all elements are done except for hooking up the water to the valve there on Luzerne Road, right? But we had some changes in it, and it wasn't the changes of the construction work so much. They were basically covered by what we allocated for that. But the engineering services exceeded the amount that we expected by $14,738, so this is to cover that. And if you have any further questions, wastewater superintendent Chris Harrington is present. Those are the 20 resolutions before us tonight. Any member of the public wish to speak to any of the 20 resolutions, keeping in mind that we pulled resolution 613. So actually 19 resolutions before us tonight.
Harrison Freer, Queensbury, and resolution 614. I attended the last meeting of the Smart Communities and volunteered to serve on that, and I didn't hear my name mentioned as a member of that group. I also would say that we should probably think about keeping Queensbury residents on that group. And if you don't live in Queensbury, it doesn't make sense to be serving on that committee in my mind, but you should give that some consideration.
Well, if it's the will of the board, we can add Harrison Freer to the, is it 614?
Yeah.
Currently, we have listed the folks, and if you want to, we can add Harrison Freer to the list. Is that something the town board wishes to do at this time? I get a yes?
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure,
Would be no
yes,
problem.
okay, no problem. All right, so we'll add Harrison Freer to the list of people who are on the committee. All right, council, that's the only change to that one. Any of the member of the public wish to speak to any of the 19 resolutions before the town board tonight? All right, seeing none. We outlasted everybody, I think. All right, we pulled resolution 613. Is there any other resolution that a town member would like us to consider pulling or roll calling?
Roll call 619.
Roll call for 619. Anything else, board? Okay, so we're pulling 613 and we're going to roll call 619. So let's do 619 first. It's a resolution approving the audit of bills. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll introduce.
Moved forward by Councilman Medevere, seconded by Councilman Ferron. A roll call vote on 619, please.
Councilperson Switzer?
Abstain.
Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Ferron?
Yes.
All right, resolution passes. Now, on the remaining resolutions, 6.1 through 620, accepting 613 and 619. Anyone want to put those remaining 18 resolutions forward for a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion put forward by Councilwoman Atherton, seconded by Councilwoman Switzer. Roll call vote on the remaining resolutions, please.
Councilperson Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Ferron?
Yes.
Switzer?
Yes.
They pass.
All right.
Don't you want to stay? Chris, don't leave. All right, any correspondence?
None.
All right, privilege of the floor. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the town board about any town topic is welcome to do so, and now is your opportunity. Please indicate an interest in doing so if you have that interest. Seeing none, I'll move on to town board discussions. And let's start with Tony.
I don't think I have anything tonight.
Nothing.
No, I'm anxiously waiting what you have to have.
All right. Catherine?
I have two things. There's been a series of environmental films at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Glens Falls on Weeks Road. This Friday is the Inconvenient Truth sequel, Truth to Power. It's at 7 p.m. And there'll be discussion to follow about the environmental initiatives past and future in Queensbury, which I will be leading. It is Al Gore's sequel for his Oscar-winning 2006 film. Basically, he's continues to fight to get things done regarding climate change and basically trying to train people to be able to state the facts and what they mean and how we can fix it. It's an excellent film. It's very, very good. And the following week is a portrait of a writer, Wendell Berry. It's called Look and See, and if you haven't read anything by Wendell Berry, I highly recommend it. The second item is Earth Day, which is this Saturday in City Park from 12 to 4. It's kind of it's a collaboration between Glens Falls and Queensbury. It's going to be great. It's got lots of things going on. There's speakers, and Supervisor Strow will be one of those, along with Mayor Dan Hall. There's going to be lots of music. There'll be food. There'll be loads of tables of information spread around. There's going to be a parade of animals for the children and various other things going on. So 12 to 4, I will be the MC, as it turns out. So it's going to be just a lot of fun. There's some of the music is Alan Epstein, Juxtapose, Alan Dunham and Liz Wing, Bob Warren, Gisela Montanez. So it's going to be great. So come, rain or shine, 12 to 4, Saturday.
Did you like the theme of my speech?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be.
Ask not what your climate can do for you.
But what you can
Ask
do for
what you can do for your climate.
There you go. So it'll be.
I stole that from somewhere.
Oh, I wonder where.
I heard it.
Is that a traitor that did that? That's it.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you, Catherine. George?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that with the nicer weather coming in, one of the things we all hear from our citizens is the rate of speed that folks drive around town. And I know that we pulled a resolution tonight regarding these radar signs, which we feel we have to put in some areas because we're trying to control that. But I'll just ask folks to please consider the fact that nicer weather, kids are on the street, people are biking, they're walking, and to really slow down and pay attention to the signs for miles per hour.
And thank you, George, and thank you for your efforts there. I know you've been working on any kind of strategies, tactics, equipment that can use to calm traffic in our area, because every day I get something. Today, I had a citizen in talking about Bay Road and the stretch through here in front of the college, in front of the Cedars and the senior housing, and they just think it's too fast. So hardly a day goes by where it's some road, some complaint, usually speeding, too fast. And we'll try and do what we can.
Yeah. Well, again, I think we just have to continue to bring it to the attention of everyone.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Anything else?
That's it.
Jennifer?
I just want to congratulate Queensbury Union Free School District. They've been selected as a best community for music education for the 6th year, a prestigious award presented by the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation. Queensbury Union Free School District was one of 623 school districts selected from across the country for this honor. The NAM Award program recognizes outstanding efforts by teachers, administrators, parents, students, and community leaders who have made music education part of the curriculum. Designations are given to districts and schools that demonstrate an exceptionally high commitment to access to music education. I think there's a few of us sitting up here. I know Mr. Medevere joined me in band at Glens Falls High School years ago, but it's just another opportunity for our students to be exposed to something else besides their normal course load, and Queensbury does an excellent job of that. So kudos to them for making this a priority in the school district.
What did you play?
Saxophone.
Okay.
And Mr. Medeviar, actually, he wasn't in band, he was in orchestra.
I started with the violin. I sucked. So she said, play the bass because you don't have to practice. That was awful. And I was a troublemaker.
No.
That is past tense.
That
Tense,
in
right.
church school. And Jen can tell you a little bit more about that because I had her parents and I pretty much drove them,
To despair.
Yep.
So, and you're going on a wonderful trip that will take you from Edinburgh all the way to Paris?
Yes.
This coming week?
With the school district as well, yes.
Edinburgh.
Yes.
Edinburgh.
And
It's one of
unfortunately,
the, Edinburgh is one. Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
That's what I said. Truly is a beautiful city.
It is.
And in Paris, Notre
Oh,
Dame,
man,
what's happening
yes.
there is awful.
Shocking. Yes.
Kathleen Moore, the Post-Star reporter here in attendance tonight, we're talking about it. It's horrible. I hope they got the hunchback out.
Oh, John.
John.
no.
No, but that really is a gem. It's they'll rebuild it. It'll look great again, I hope. All right, so now me. All right, the town, Queensbury residential lawn and yard spring waste pickup. Okay, here it goes. May 6th through the 17th, Ward 3. All right, Connie, thank you. May 20th through the 24th, Ward 4. May 28th through the 31st, Ward 2. And June 3rd through the 7th, Ward 1. All right, please put your waste out by the side of the road on your lawn, not in the road. Make sure you use biodegradable paper bags. The county is doing a household tire recycling day. Get rid of those old tires. Saturday, May 4th, 8:30 to 12 at the Lake George Transfer Station on 56 Transfer Road, Lake George. $2 per tire, $4 if it has a rim. You must be a resident of Warren County or a landowner in Warren County to drop off the tire, no businesses. All right, Saturday, May 4th. And last but not, I'm going to highlight the past 2 weeks' activities, and just highlight, because that's what the town board asked me. All right, I did go to a Christian Men's Business Connection at the Queensbury Hotel. It started at 7:30 in the morning. Michael Patel, who is the new leader of the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, gave a wonderful speech at the Christian Businessmen's Connection meeting at the Queensbury Hotel. Wonderful speech. All right. We also had a conference call with Jim Yinger of the Climate Action Plan to discuss climate smart communities, what available grant money there is. Can we go in with the city of Glens Falls on these activities and use some of their fundings to especially to get to a greenhouse gas inventory is what we need money for. So it looks like we're going to get some funding for that. All right, then Rockhurst, as you know, Rockhurst is trying to put together a community septic plan. We're trying to get the pieces together. It's getting closer and closer, slowly and slowly. Kristen Hannafin of the Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce, CBB, came in to talk about Team US Bay Volleyball being put together by Hazel Goldstein. So more information will be coming to this board because they're going to ask us to help fund that next year. Then I went to ribbon cutting, Edward Jones and Mark Plaza, Brian's Branch at Mark Plaza. Welcome to Queensbury and good luck. Met with Jennifer McDonald to determine who would, we got bids in on the printing and they came in very good. And so they'll be, and I think the town board wants that to come out of ITAX. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought. So there'll be a resolution May 6th awarding that to the printer that was the low bidder. Okay, which is Port Orange printing. Then we had a town board workshop on Monday, April 8th, and we had a public hearing. Actually, it was a meeting and then a workshop. We started here, and we had new town law relating to wireless telecommunications facilities, and we reviewed that. We set the public hearing. We had the public hearing, and we voted on it. We approved that new code. We also discussed park and rec capital projects, what you saw presented tonight, the assessment department and the personnel changes that they're going to see in the near future. We talked about traffic control and traffic calming devices. We talked about Catherine Atherton's waterfront residential zoning. We talked about Jennifer Switzer's occupancy tax and community fund request evaluation instruments. And we talked about Councilman Ferrone's digital signage, and then Stu Baker came up to me, and the city of Glens Falls is going to be a week from tomorrow going to be looking at the license agreement for Halfway Brook Trail. And Stu said, you know, in the license agreement it talks about pedestrian use. Are you talking about allowing snowshoeing and cross-country skiing and bicycling? I said, yeah, that's part of the pedestrian experience. He says, maybe you better mention that. So I just made the assumption that was the pedestrian experience was generic enough. And so I emailed Dan Hall and I said, that's the understanding? And they said, yeah, but if you've got any wording changes, you better get it to me quick because we're going to be looking at it a week from Tuesday. So Mark Shackner put together something, and we saw that today. Thought he did a good job. And it's very simple changes. It includes a passive recreation, includes activities like cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, bicycling, hiking. Okay. So that's making progress. Then I met with the Warren County Safe and Quality Bicycle Organization. Harrison Freer put this meeting together with the New York State Department of Transportation to discuss bicycle accommodations on the roads as we repave them and such. I thought it was a very good meeting, Harrison. Then that night I was back at Crandall Library attending Maury Thompson's special screening of Charles Evans Hughes and the Adirondacks, a wonderful little film that he's put together. And it's only like the first part of a bigger project that he has planned, and it could be a couple years in the making, but he's off to a great start, I think. Then I met with Mike Palmer to discuss the town's workplace violence training and what we need to do to make sure that's staying up to date, make sure that it takes place. And then, you know, with this town board's permission, I put together that WISP committee and with department heads and store tech representatives to talk about the two things that I think needed clarification, and you agreed with me, is the IT committee and the IT officer, the IT security committee and the IT security officer. Now, I've outlined what I kind of outlined to you. I refined it this morning. I sent it out to the department heads. Craig Brown and others have already come back with some suggestions and fine-tuning it even more. So when I think they're pretty happy with it, I'll send the product to you. And if you have any further thoughts, I want to know that too. But I want to make sure by the time I send it to you, it's been through the gauntlet, okay? And then if you like it, we'll add it to the WISP policy and hopefully you know, have that for May 6th. Okay, that's it for me. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, well, I'd like to thank Look TV, Joel Barlow, our cameraman from Look TV, and I'd like to thank our sponsors, especially Stored Tech. I'd like to thank the town board, town council Bob Hafner, town clerk Caroline Barber for all being present. Member of the public, thank you for being here. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Do you want to do a resolution?
Yeah, is there, what's that?
Do a resolution to adjourn.
Yeah. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes. So moved.
Boy. Moved by Councilwoman Atherton, seconded by Councilwoman Switzer. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.